Hey, what do you know? This is the Melvin Live Show, and how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing well and everyone is having a good time. Today is Wednesday, and well, the few things I would like to tell you here. One, of course, is iOS 14.1. It's being updated, so that's something that you want to do if you have an iPhone. Um, iOS 14 has been fascinating, especially with the ability to change the way that your iPhone look, and you do not have to be the same as everyone else. Of course, the Android boys would be saying that we have had that for like years, and I would agree. And I would still say that the Android, it's a better platform for customization itself, whereas the Apple, it's better in terms of streamline workflow. And that's coming from someone who has been on the iOS and Mac ecosystem for a good, I think, 5 or 6 years before I jumped ship to um, the Android and Windows combo. And I did that for close to almost 10 years. No, let me see. Close to 8, 9 years before I jump back again to fully iOS as well as Mac OS system. Yet I still keep my Android as well as my Windows laptop for reasons, because when I train, and for example, like today, when I was training my participant, I was having to show them both the difference on the Mac as well as the Windows. And the ability to show them that was, I think, bring up the experience to a different level, because being able to show and to be able to for them to experience both interfaces of the same software when it comes to video editing, I think that was something that was quite an experience, because I have, usually when I attend courses, the trainer would either have one system or the other, but not both. And so that was my spiel here. So today, we are going to be talking about books. And as you know, I love books, right? I mean, I have been reading a lot of books. I actually picked up the habit of reading pretty late. When I was at university, and then only then that I started reading. I mean, I've never had the knack for reading, and I always thought that reading is a waste of time. Um, you know, and so when I was in university, I was inspired by a few of my friends who were like reading not just one book, but a couple of books at the same time. And I never quite figure out how would they be able to follow the plot. I mean, would they get confused? Until I start picking up the habit myself, and I realized what a joy it was to be able to go into a different dimension and go into a different world, to be able to see the world from a different point of view than yours. And arguably, if you are able to get hold of some books that is able to give you that different perspective from a different part of the world, I think that gives you a very, very great perspective itself without having you to go to the other side of the world and to probably stay there, right? Which we did for a year when we were traveling, which was great because, I think reading about it, take you one notch up, but staying there and being with the people in the neighborhood and staying there and, talking to them, I think that definitely take it up several notches. All right, so books. We're going to be talking about books today, and today I'm going to talk about three books that really shape the way I think about creating online courses. And no, none of these books are about creating online courses, but it's the methodology and the way that you approach it. I think these three books can be applied to any endeavor if you want to start, especially if you are looking in the online space. This would be very, very relevant. That say, you really want to be able to look at how by using the techniques as well as the thinking behind these three books, they are kind of able to give you an insight that you might not have otherwise gotten because of your experience or because of your exposure. All right, so there are three books I want to share with you here today. And so let me just switch my screen here. Just give me a second. All right. Uh, okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so the first book is by Tara Gentel, and the book it's called The Observation Engine. Take the guesswork out of marketing. Now, the reason why I love this book was because she writes it in such a way that really allows me to shift the way I look at marketing. And on the same note, it really changed the way I look at, well, in case you didn't know, I don't have hair. It changed the way I look at presenting the case to my prospective learners. So the premise of this book essentially is to be able to observe what people do, right? Observe what are their behaviors, observe what they're thinking, how they are feeling, what they're saying, what they're doing. And from those observations itself, you are able to put together a piece of map. And with this map itself, it allows you to take it to the next level to kind of have a better understanding of who these people are, right? And so, you know, this is something that led me to really concretize the way I look at creating an empathy map. Now, if you're not familiar with what is an empathy map, essentially the empathy map allows you to do the following. So the first step you want to think about is who are your potential learners, right? Who are the people who could potentially benefit from taking this course that you have in mind. So obviously, you will start off with, at the very broad level, you will start off with demographics, for example. So you may say, well, I'm looking at people from the age between 40 to 55, right? I'm looking at people who are predominantly male or female or both, and they reside, let's say, in North America or in Asia. Okay, and so you have that demographic itself. Now, the demographic is a good start, but it barely kind of scratched the surface itself, right? Unless you are a statistician, demographics really mean nothing to marketers because it's too broad. If you do not believe me, just take, for example, if you speak to someone who is 40 years old and you speak to someone who is 55 years old, the kind of examples, the kind of things that you would talk about would be fairly different. Okay. And of course, whereas the age range get wider, the contrast get even bigger. Hence, people always say that, this generation doesn't understand that generation kind of thing. And so you start off with demographics, and then you want to go down to what we call psychographics, what people like, what people dislike. And this is where you really get a great sense of what do people, people within that age group itself, what do they gravitate towards? Now, when I was conducting a course on this, one of the participants says that, well, if you, as in you, the person, belong to that age group itself, wouldn't you have a good idea of what are the likes and dislikes? And my response to that is yes, that is true, except that unless you have a wide circle of friends and from people from different um, segment of society, and you have been able to dive deep into their likes and dislikes, you have friends that you can talk to. Unless you have that kind of data and access, you may perhaps be living in an echo chamber, because the kind of company you keep, the friends you have, the peers that you have, the people that you mix with, may be of a certain class in society, may have a certain worldview about certain things. And as a result of that, because the very people that you meet are of the same group, and so you kind of echo back each other's thought, and that may be a bias or a warped sense of reality for you. And so I never assume, because assume means it make an ass out of you and me, right? I never assume, I have this data in my hands, which is widely available and is free. So I want to make use of those data, if anything, right, to validate that what my suspicion, what my suspicion tells me is true. And better yet, to be able to uncover certain things that surprise me that I didn't know about this group of people. And trust me, if you go into this whole process of, um, you know, doing research about the learners that you want to reach, and you do not uncover anything that surprises you, you're probably down the wrong path. All right. So you come down to the part about the psychographics, what they like, what they dislike, and then you also look at what are some of the behaviors, right? What are some of the things that they would do? Would they be inclined to purchase something online, or are they the type that would need to see you in person, or at least in live session before they will make the purchase itself? So those are key questions, right? And once you have those questions and once you have those answers, you then will be able to put it into this empathy map. And with this empathy map itself, it really gives you the opportunity to be able to connect with your audience. So, in this book itself, I mean, I will just give you a quick rundown of what are some of the things that she talks about. Okay, so it talks about how it all begins. So she kind of gives you a framework to kind of work towards understanding the market that you are going after. So it's really, really crucial that you have some kind of a framework, right? In the community that I have, what I'm doing is I'm going to go in depth into the type of strategies and processes that you would take into understanding, using data and information to help you understand your target audience a lot better. So if you are interested in that kind of in-depth analysis and in-depth walkthrough of a tutorial, for example, then definitely, either leave me a comment or check out catalyticcourses.com. I'll leave a link in the comments later on. All right. So this is book number one. Now, book number two that has really given me that framework of being able to think about the things that I want to do is this book by um let me make sure that I get his name correct. Oh, my Kindle app isn't working too well today for some reason. No sweat. Ryan Leviskick. I hope I got his name right, right? So the book is called Us, and in this book itself, if you read the subtitle, it says that it's a counterintuitive method to discover what your customers want to buy and create a mass of raving fans and take any business to the next level. Now, I must say, and I will go into in depth in tomorrow's episode. When I go in depth into looking at the process that I have used, what he has taught in this book, and the process essentially gives you the ability to ask certain questions and ask the correct questions so that you are able to get maximum um, response and to be able to get useful and insightful response from what people are telling you. Okay, so this book itself, if you go to his website, you are able to download some templates that gives you the ability to design your own questions and to design the questionnaires using the template that he has given, and that kind of get you to speed. But tomorrow, what I will do is I will walk you through the steps that he has outlined and what I have implemented and now what I found to have worked and what have not worked. Okay. So make sure you check out, subscribe to this channel, follow my page if you want to get notified whenever I post a new video. But tomorrow, that's what I'm going to do. So if you want, make sure you follow or you subscribe so that you will be notified of that. So, Oz is this second book. I love it because it gives me the step-by-step process. And I'm someone who looks out for actionable advice, right? Because I do not just want to read something for the sake of concept. I mean, it's great. I mean, concepts are good, right? But I want to be able to execute on those concepts itself. And I think this book kind of gives me that ability to do that. So Tara Gentle's book kind of gave me that broad concept. She doesn't go, deep into implementation, and that's fine. But she gives me that broad idea of what to do. And Ryan's book really go into the process itself, the process of getting people to respond to you and to communicate with you and to tell you, what are some of the struggles that they have. And so that allows you to validate whether if your empathy map is accurate. Because at that point in time when you create the empathy map, at best you are making certain inference or you are making an educated guess, but Ryan's book take you through the process to validate what you have put down in the empathy map, whether is that accurate or not. So definitely check out Ryan's book if you want the process. Now, the third book that I would want to share with you is a book that I have gotten in a PDF format. And so that book is called The Mom's Test. Now, I was first introduced to this book by a good friend of mine, John Saddington. And, I was wondering what the rage was about, this book. And because I kind of thought that, well, I had Ryan book and Ryan kind of explained everything about you need to know about asking questions um, to your prospective customers. And so I thought that now this book is probably something that it's, an additional, if anything, I'm probably not going to learn much from it. But nonetheless, because, John has got really good insights into running businesses. So, I wanted to see what he saw in this book itself. And so that's when I decided to get the book, The Mom's Test. And so for this book itself, I didn't want to buy the hard copy. I wanted to buy an ebook because I like to print it out and I could underline it. And so I didn't buy the Amazon, the Kindle version, but I bought the PDF. I got the PDF instead. So the Mom's Test is a great book because, so the story is that you, if you were to ask your mom about the idea that you are going to create for your business. And because your mom loves you, right? And your mom wouldn't want to see you get hurt. And so what she would do is she'll probably tell you things that you want to hear. And as a result of that, that might lead you down the wrong path and down into failure itself, right? So this book by Rob Fitzpatrick, he actually talks about when you ask mom that question, you do not ask mom, would it be a good idea if I were to create this thing, right? Because mom is likely going to say, yeah, it's a great idea, and 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 when you read the book, inevitably, I get away with what I got away was this. You do not ask leading questions. You do not ask your prospective learners, would it be good if someone would be able to teach you how to create profitable online courses? Inevitably, if you ask that kind of question, which idiot would say no to you, right? I mean, everyone would want to know how to create a profitable online course, and everyone would who wants to create an online course would want that online course to be profitable, isn't it? And so as a result of that, I mean, the person would either be lying or the person is an idiot to say that no, I do not want to learn anything about creating a profitable online course. So when you ask questions like this, which are leading question, and people are inevitably going to say yes. Now, whether they are going to trust that you are going to be the person who is going to lead them to that destination itself, that's another thing. But the point here is that instead of asking them that leading question, what do you want to ask them would be, what are some of the struggles? What are some of the frustrations that they have gone through? What have they tried? What have they implemented? What have they heard? What have they thought about? So really, this very simple idea behind that is that when you ask your prospective learners, do not ask them questions that is about your cause. You do not ask question about what if a course is going to be like this, do you think you would buy it? If the course is going to cost you this amount of money, would you buy it? If this course is going to give you the outcome itself, would you buy it? Because the answer would inevitably be yes, yes, and yes. And of course, if you go down the path and you launch a course, then you probably have a shock of your life that why is it that these people are, hypocrite. They say yes, but they do not buy. Where in fact, what's happening is they are like mom, they do not want to hurt you, or you asking them leading question that lead them to say yes. So instead of focusing the question on your cause or the product or the service that you're providing, what you want to do instead is to ask them about their struggles, ask them about their frustration, ask them about what they've tried and failed, what they've tried and succeeded, right? So you want to go down that path and focus on them because with that itself, you would be able to identify, is the problem that they're facing a real problem that they would put money to have that problem resolved, or it's a problem that it's annoying but not enough for them to want to actively seek out a solution to resolve it. Okay, so that's the premise behind the mom's test. So, in summary, the observation engine gives you the overview of what are some of the information and data that would prove to be useful for you to create the empathy map. And with the empathy map itself, it's still at a level of inference, it's still a level of hypothesis about what your target audience or your prospective learners like, dislike, and what are some of the frustration that they face. And the book Ours really takes you through that process of, once you have identified the people that you want to reach, the next step really is to use this process and to really ask real people questions. Okay. And of course, once you get to that stage itself, you want to take it to the next level by having either one on one conversation with prospective learners, or people who are looking to do certain things that you can provide a solution for, right? And the mom's test would be an excellent book to guide you through the process. So once again, if you are looking at creating online courses and you do not kind of know where to start, make sure you leave me a contact in my comments, or you hit me up on a DM, or you send me a message, and let me see how I can help you, right? Because you want to tap on my past 15 to 20 years of experience of creating courses, both online as well as offline, and how I've successfully done that. So you want to tap on my experience of doing that, and to see how I could help you in starting your path down towards looking at creating online courses. Once again, if this video has been helpful, make sure you give me a thumbs up. And if by any means, this whole you want to have more of such um, content appearing in your feed, because they are useful and they're helpful to help you grow and start, build, and grow your 1% 1 million old digital business, then definitely subscribe to this channel. Once again, my name is Melvin, and stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.